Money talks. So the Trussville Interstate Widening project will finish early, and we'll talk about school report cards. Tribune Unscripted starts. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back to Tribune Unscripted. I'm Brandon Dawkins with Tribune Digital Media, here with Scott Buttram, publisher of the Trussville Tribune. And that was really big. You like my tease?
I did. But when you say money talks, most of us expect the following line, which you held off on because you're a lady.
Oh, wow.
You're a lady.
Anyways,
But it's a valid point.
It is a valid point that you made, actually. So big news yesterday, and probably our most read story of yesterday anyway, was about the big interstate project here in Trussville on Interstate 59 is finishing a week early. They really kind of have been ahead the whole time, it seems like.
Yeah.
And you did make the point, too, that we've had a lot of dry weather, so maybe that's helped out. But you also said
there was $1 million incentive for the contractor.
Yes. So,
which I think is good business, and I think the state was smart to do that.
Yes.
Was it a week early or a month early? I guess it was a week early.
So it was a week.
And that's good news because that's a major traffic impediment for our area, for our actually
right, and this
a
is
good
a
part
busy
of our
season
viewing
where
area.
Traffic gets totally wonky in November and December.
Yeah, and I think, are they going to hold off until after Christmas season to start the northbound lanes?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think they're doing that, which will give the Christmas traffic, and that's a big deal in Trussville, time to kind of come and go. But what the state did is put $1 million incentive in front of the contractor if they completed the job by a certain date. Completing it a week early meant $1 million bonus for the contractor. There is also $1 million incentive on the northbound. So we'll see, if that pays off. Obviously, the weather's got to cooperate, or incentive or no incentive.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. But good for the state on putting that out there. This was a major, they completely rebuilt the interstate as it's going through Trussville because the original interstate bed was in no condition to just pave over. They had to literally rebuild it from the ground up in a lot of areas. So this is a really big job, and I'm tickled to see it get done early.
Okay. Well, I think that's really good. I know it's really good news for people that use that interstate section of the interstate every single day. So
it is, and I need to say I've been impressed with the drivers and the way they've adapted and changed routes as they go through this.
Yeah, I think the whole thing has not been as bad as I expected.
Well, I think we got smart. If you have not been on Valley Road since this construction started, you may not be prepared for what you see on Valley Road.
Yeah, that definitely has become.
Yeah, that's gone from a well-kept secret to no secret at all.
I'll tell you what else is kind of a game changer in Trussville right now is the road that opened up with the little roundabout.
Yeah, behind the First Baptist.
That helps get around some of this center stuff, and I like that.
When that gets complete, it is really going to be a game changer.
It's crazy.
Even the little loop, the early right turn before you get into Highway 11.
I've been using that forever.
Yeah.
But just as a silly example, sometimes in the afternoon, it can take 10 minutes for me to get from my house to like the dance studio on Highway 11.
Very frustrating.
That's crazy. But if I stay in the neighborhood and go the back way and take the roundabout, it literally takes 2 minutes.
You don't stop.
2 minutes.
You don't stop after you cross the road.
It's crazy.
It is, and people are figuring that out, which is good. That's what we want because that alleviates traffic in other areas.
Yeah.
But it's you can already see signs of it coming together. We've had Watterson Parkway for so long, we kind of took it for granted. But remember back before that was put in, and what a difference that made on being able to get traffic over the tracks when the train stopped. But all these elements are coming together, and it is improving traffic flow in Trussville as more people understand where the routes are.
Yeah, where those
it'll get better.
Are. So, I figured that one out, that's for sure. All right, we're going to spend the rest of this section of the show talking about school report cards. So if we kind of line them up a certain way, but let's start with Trussville.
Yeah, and I apologize. We may have to yell at Jacob and Ron to give us some background. You've got some stuff in front of you. I don't have everything committed to memory. We'll start with Trussville because Trussville was just a really, really good story. For the third year in a row, Trussville is one of only a handful of school districts in the state of Alabama who scored straight A's on the school report card for all of their schools and the district. Straight A's across the board. Again, third year in a row. That's very rare territory to be doing that. Something that we don't take for granted here in Trussville. That's a lot of hard work from our students, from our teachers, administrators, really the whole community supporting that school system. And again, we've been rewarded with great news about our schools. So very proud of that. I'm going to mention a conversation that I had with our middle school principal, Jared Meads. Let me start, because I don't want to go into a lot of detail about this, but I'm going to try to give you a short summary. If you look at test scores at public schools across the United States of America,
middle school's the lowest.
Middle school's a dip. It always dips.
Always has been.
You know, boys are discovering girls are discovering boys. A lot of different stuff is going on.
Yes.
And
not just that, too.
They're not under one teacher all day.
Yeah, it's just a transition of how the kids, their day works.
Right.
Yeah, the different teachers.
And that's how middle schools,
workload.
It's designed that
Yeah,
way. You're
right,
transitioning
exactly.
from
You
elementary
literally are
to
in the
high
middle.
school.
Right.
You're in the middle. Very well put. So there is a national dip in scoring. And I've heard that from superintendents for years, and I agree. The evidence is there. However, when I looked at the really good school districts in our area, while there was a dip at the middle school academically, it wasn't as pronounced. And so I've been a proponent for 20 years of we've got to level it up. You know, I know there's going to be a dip there, but we've got to keep that dip from being so pronounced, so we're sending better students to the high school. And that's what has happened under Jared Meads. I mean, back-to-back years, we've had, I think we've had A's in the middle school for 3 straight years, maybe 4. But the point being, they've leveled it out. Jared's very competitive. He had a 92 this year. Well, that's because the formulation changed when he got one too many English as a second language students. It used to be a limit of 40. It changed the formula if you had as many as 40. Well, now the limit is 20. So at 21, it changes the formula. He would have had a 95, but because he had 21 students that fell into that category, they ended up with a 92. Well, they're doing 95 work, which means they're improving from what they did last year. But the formula changed a little bit.
Actually based on, so these scores are from which year?
I think these could go back 2 years, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe even 3.
It kind of comes out late.
Actually, I'm not sure I'm not sure what scores the federal report card is coming off on. I think there's a 2-year, which academic year? I think there's a 2-year delay.
The other thing that they've done really across the system in Trussville, but especially in the middle school, it was really emphasized in the middle school last year when I had an 8th grader there, and I was on the middle school's like parent advisory or something. And the big emphasis there from Mr. Meads was attendance. And he always made the point that those attendance numbers hit the report card too. So it was a big
cut that in half.
Yes.
Cut it in half.
And the point is simple. It makes sense. Number one, they need to be in school anyway.
That's right.
Number two, we can't teach them what they need to know if their attendance is not good.
That's right.
And so it was just this huge push with regular reminders about attendance.
And that can slow down the whole class.
Yes.
When absenteeism is up, you tend to pull back on the students that are there because you don't want to put others behind. So it becomes a balancing act. And but they've cut it. I
really like some of that he educated us on last year. I just didn't think about in that way.
He's doing a great job. And really, our principals across the board are doing it. Cahaba Elementary has consistently been one of the top scoring elementary schools in the state.
99, 99, 98. That's just unbelievable.
I mean, we've been talking about our elementary schools, and we talk about Cahaba a lot because they just have been at the very pinnacle of the statewide scores, but so have Payne and Magnolia.
It's crazy.
We've had 3 elementary schools. We know the last time we looked at it, all 3 were in the top 20 elementary schools in the entire state of Alabama out of hundreds of elementary schools. When you're looking at a 99, 99, and a 98, I want to go back and relook it. I'm not so sure that all 3 aren't in the top 10. I mean, clearly you can't go much higher than a 99. So just really proud of all the work that's gone on at Trussville City Schools. We also had some other schools that Jacob's, this is kind of a work in progress. He's kind of focused on the high schools.
Yeah, you did a pull-out story that focused on some Jefferson County schools
Right.
in our Tribune area.
So yeah, we're just looking at the Jefferson County schools in our coverage area. So Shades Valley, I think, was the top score getter there. Do you see what their score was?
So Shades Valley is a 75 for 2025.
Okay.
Down from 78. But that also houses, is important to say, that it houses the Jefferson County International Baccalaureate
So
program.
it does still house part of that?
That's
I know
right.
that was moving to another campus at one point.
That's
So I
what
don't know
says.
where that is, but I saw that in the story as well. I think our next scoring school was Centerpoint High School in Jefferson County. I believe they had a 69. Centerpoint has shown improvement over the last 2 years. In fact, Centerpoint has.
Let's see, they increased, to a 69 from a 67.
So they have surpassed, 2 years ago, they surpassed Pinson Valley High School and Clay Chalfle High School in their report card score. So this is now 2 years in a row that they lead Pinson and Clay Chalfle, which I don't think most of us expected to see that develop on this side of town, but it certainly has. And if I'm not mistaken, Pinson Valley had a 66.
They did.
And Clay Chalfle had a 61. So a lot of concerns with those three schools academically, how they're producing. When I got into the proficiency percentages for math and English language arts and science, I looked at Clay Chalfle, and not in a single one of those curriculums do they even reach 8% proficiency. Every one is below 8% proficiency. That shouldn't be acceptable in any of our schools.
Yeah.
I'm also concerned when you see those low proficiency numbers and then you see a graduation rate in the 80 percentile.
Or 90th percentile.
I don't know how that's matching up. But we know that there are concerned parents with students in those schools, and this kind of justifies their concern. Leeds is of course, Leeds City Schools. So we looked at Leeds as well. What was their?
Let's see. Let me click on Leeds. So Leeds rose to an 83 from a 79.
Okay, so they've actually improved the letter score there. And then our St. Clair County schools are going to be Moody and Springville, I believe. And I think Springville had a 90-something.
Yeah, Springville High earned a 90.
And Moody's score
for the second year.
What was Moody's score? I think
Moody saw one of the largest year-to-year gains in St. Clair County, improving from an 82 in 2024 to an 87.
Yeah, outstanding job with both of those two schools.
Yeah.
So we're certainly very proud of that. Are we leaving anybody out?
Oh wow, wait a minute. Academic achievement. This is at Moody. Gains year-to-year in St. Clair County. Academic achievement increased from. Am I reading this right? Increased from 42.92% to 57%, and academic growth rose from 89 to 100.
So that means they're hitting their targets.
Wow.
For growth there. I'm really pleased as you look across our coverage area. You see a lot of diverse situation here. But I'm very pleased with the improvement I'm seeing at Centerpoint High School. I mean, they're at a 69 now. This is a school that's been perennially on the failing list. And now they've reached a 69, a chance to start moving into the 70 percentile there. A lot of concern about Clay Chalfle as those scores continue to drop year on year after year, and Pinson Valley as well. Two proud, strong communities. Those schools have done well in the past, but they've not been doing well for a while, and that's going to require a lot of attention to get that turned around. But then you look at Springville High School, moving into the 90 percentile. No surprise to anybody that's been following Springville High School. Seeing Moody make a big gain. No surprise there. Leeds making a good gain. So a lot of reason for optimism throughout the Trussville Tribune coverage area with our high schools. We'll get more into the middle schools and the elementary schools, where I think with the middle schools we're going to see some mixed signaling coming back. With the elementary schools, I think we're going to see a lot of good news across the board there.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot of good information there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more stories for today. Stay with us. Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay retail price. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, we're going to turn our attention to trees in Trussville. So there has been, the Tree Commission in Trussville has been working for the last couple of years on this plan to replace some of these oaks that have been in the Cahaba project since it was built. Because they are so large and they are so old that we've got to, they can be dangerous. And so they've got to be replaced, and we want them to be replanted because they create the tree canopy through the middle of the city that so many people enjoy, especially this time of year when it's all colorful. But anyways, but it looks like there's going to be a really pretty aggressive taking down and replanting on Parkway Drive, because of some that just need to be addressed there, according to some information that was put out from the city. But, so next week is Thanksgiving, and we won't have a show on Thursday.
Right.
But 2 weeks from today, Mayor Short's going to come talk about this, because there's more details coming as far as timing.
And this, the trees are a big part of Trussville, especially the historic district. You mentioned the tree canopy. I just one of my favorite things about our city.
Yes.
So there. I don't know if I'd use the term aggressive, but I have seen three.
Oh, sorry, not aggressive.
I have seen.
If you see three go down on one street, that feels
aggressive. It feels aggressive. It's big.
Not aggressive in a bad way. Just they're trying to be preventative.
Well, they are. They've identified disease or there's problem with these trees. So taking them down and then replanting replacements is the goal there. I think I've seen 3 trees marked with pink ribbons for removal.
Okay.
And of course, they're the biggest, most beautiful trees on the street, which is kind of the way that works out.
5 along Parkway, it's a lot. It's a lot. People will notice.
It is. So I've missed a few.
It has to be done.
I don't think there's any truth to the rumor that Mayor Short plans to bulldoze every tree on Parkway and Chapel Road.
You shouldn't even joke about that.
I shouldn't have started the rumor. I feel badly about that, dog.
Well, and he says in the story, and finding a balance between risk mitigation and protecting our city's trees is a challenging task.
No, it's not. We'll have him here in 2 weeks, and we'll explain to him protecting the trees there's no task here. You protect the trees, okay?
No.
If we lose a few people in the process, so be it.
And the replanting, it is. It has been. I like the plan that they had put into place too, where people who live in the neighborhood who had lost trees that had to be removed. The Tree Commission is replacing them with a different type of oak that doesn't get so incredibly large.
Right.
But there's a system for watering, but it helps if you water it too. And I
hope we're replacing them with the oaks that John Floyd specifically said they need to be replaced with.
Sure
and I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I do think there is some difference on the size. I was I made the mistake of asking John Floyd, hey, what are those fast-growing oaks you say are good for Trussville? And he corrected me and said there's no such thing as a fast-growing oak. But he explained that those are the ideal oaks for our region, and that's what we should be replacing. So there's a lot of thought put into this. I think the city will tell you, Mayor Choate would tell you, probably Mayor Melton would tell you, that there have been times that we probably paid a little more attention to it than other times, and there were probably times we kind of neglected the replacing of trees. And so I think we've done a really good job over the last few years of, as you mentioned, developing a good system, and hopefully we can do that going forward. And as money is available for the tree commission, maybe they can even do more. But I think probably the first priority is let's keep the canopy being replaced and replenished with new trees.
And I mean, it's high maintenance. You know, I have one of these trees that grows out of basically right out my back door. I don't know how that happened, but it's there, and part of the house is built around it. And it's amazing, but I mean, we've had to take some major dramatic steps to protect it. It literally is cabled, has cables in the canopy like it's in the San Francisco Zoo or something. I mean, like it's cabled.
We had one.
To protect it.
We had one on the edge of our back patio. It was called a triple tree. I mean, when it was removed, we had to pay for the removal of 3 trees. And it was just one at the base.
That hurts.
And it did, but it was close to the house, and it was terribly diseased, and it was a risk to life and limb. So, you know, not the tree's limbs, our limbs. So we had to have it removed. It was very expensive to get it removed. Maybe we should have considered cabling. I don't know.
No, I've had to remove one too. It's not fun, but anyways, and this one eventually will have to probably be removed.
But when they're on the city right away, it becomes the city's issue to deal with. So the mayor, as you said, he'll be here in 2 weeks. We'll falsely accuse him of several things and then give him a chance to clean it all up.
Good times. Okay, we'll do that. All right, let's turn back to Centerpoint. Unfortunately, there a young Centerpoint woman was killed in Birmingham. But an arrest has been made in that in that case as well, and that's always unfortunate to see because she was only 20 years old. But I was looking for the name of the person who was arrested. Jeffrey Rogers. Thank you, Ron. Jeffrey Rogers has been arrested and charged. It looks like with that. And so that
terrible tragedy
also happened this week. And then lastly, no, not lastly, almost last.
Next to last.
Pinson. Let's turn to Pinson. We are going to schedule for Mayor Sanders to be on the show pretty soon to get us caught up with what's going on in Pinson. But Pinson is covered by different fire districts. One of which is Palmerdale, one of which is Centerpoint, and then it looks like there's a third one now too. But there's been some changes for Palmerdale. They're expanding, and so looks like Pinson is subleasing.
Yeah, we'll get Mayor Sanders on to kind of give us the ins and outs of all that. We're going through trying to get each of our mayors up here. There was some mention in there. It appears to me that the city was already leasing some land or leasing some property to the Palmerdale Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department, and they need to add a couple of bays. I think they brought in 2 new trucks. And the fire chief had talked about the growth in the area, which kind of caught me off guard. I didn't realize there had been growth in the Palmerdale area. So the mayor will have a chance to kind of catch us all up on how that works out. And I, you know, there's a lot of talk about police departments for Pinson, for Centerpoint, for Clay. We hear that a lot from our readers.
We definitely did this summer during the political forums.
What you don't hear very often is a clamoring of replacement or having city fire departments, because Centerpoint Fire, Palmerdale Fire, I wasn't even aware of Glenwood till the mayor mentioned that in the article, but they do such a good job. They do have great ISO ratings. They're run very professionally. So I think those departments have been a real blessing to our area, our communities. So I think obviously the city of Pinson knows what they're doing, and they're trying to accommodate that growth there. So I want to hear more about the growth itself, hear more about what that department's doing, but also just hear from Mayor Sanders. He's going to have a very different view, you know, going into this next term that he's already begun. I want to hear what having 4 years, actually turned out to be 5 years.
Off.
Yeah, to kind of stand back and see things from a different point of view. I'm anxious to hear how that affected him.
Yeah, and then go back into all this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who is Pinson through and through, loves that city, loves that community, loves those people. So I'm just interested to hear, having 5 years to step back and look at it, because honestly, they became a city. He got on the roller coaster and didn't get off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to hear his view of, well, this is kind of what I observed when it wasn't all in my lap every day, and how that will affect him going forward in the decisions he makes. Okay. It'll be a good conversation. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Okay, let's look at, so we did a story about this when they announced it, but the Foxhound Bee Company, and I guess that's been at least a year or so ago.
I don't think it's been that long. I think it's been a little more recent.
That they announced that they were going to build it? Mm-hmm. Well, because now it's been built. Before it was just a drawing.
Right.
And so it's had to have been about a year.
I don't know.
But anyway, we'll fuss about that later. But the Foxhound Bee Company
we'll definitely fuss about
in Irondale is opening this weekend. And this is, I don't know that there's a lot of these around. But there are, like, beekeeping has seemed to be a growing trend.
And he sells supplies to beekeepers.
And he sells supplies.
And interesting story. Started it in his home.
And it's kind of an education center, too.
Yeah, saw a need for it. Started it in his home. It grew and forced him into commercial property.
Yeah.
And now Saturday they'll have the grand opening in Irondale, another grand opening in Irondale. We're going to be saying that a lot over the next 2 years, I think. Yeah. But I found it interesting because your neighbor is a beekeeper. Mm-hmm. She sells her honey, Lake Street honey, right out front.
It's called Grasshopper Cottage.
Okay.
Not Lake Street.
My bad. I'm sure I'll get an email correcting that, but
I just corrected it.
That's you do see a lot of interest in this, and I'm just going to tell you, honey is my weakness. I mean, I'm not a syrup guy. I put honey on pancakes, waffles, biscuits. My finger, anything.
My finger. Well, so they are located in Irondale at 300 Honey Lane.
It's right across from the sports complex, I think.
Believe so. Okay. I believe so. And I know it's a great looking building. I wish we had a picture of the outside of it here, but I remember the drawing from before. But you see all the honeycomb shaped objects and lighting and stuff in there. It's just really great, and so it looks like a really cool place to go, even if you don't need beekeeping supplies. It looks like he's got some massive beeswax candles and some things like that.
We'll have to. I'm going to check the place out. Lori and I went over just a couple of weeks ago and had lunch at the Irondale Cafe. Then went over to Sunshine's Bakery and bought goodies for breakfast the next morning.
You just did a whole little Irondale tour.
We kind of did. Then we went over to the new library and walked through. Oh. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So nice, so first class. We're just going to be saying that about Irondale for a while yet. It's good things are happening in Tribune land, and we kind of love that.
Well, that's everything we've got for today. Like we said a few minutes ago, we are off next week. We think definitely. Yeah,
well, we're off for Thursday. The Christmas tree lighting is Sunday.
Oh yes, so in Trussville, the area chamber of commerce just put on the Christmas tree lighting the Sunday after Thanksgiving. On the mall in Trussville. Mm-hmm. Really, some of it's on the main mall, some of it's across the street at the West Mall. Or was last year. I don't know if they've changed that this year, but it's from 4 to 6. That's a free event for the community.
Right.
Really popular.
Really popular. I mean, I think June, who was the executive director when they started this, she and Melissa kind of always pictured this as a Hallmark movie moment for Trussville. I think they nailed it. Yeah. When you're out there and it's packed in, you got kids singing Christmas carols.
All the choirs from the schools come, and we'll be there. Bennett's and John, so we'll be there. And
it raises your blood sugar level. You kind of go diabetic for those 30 to 45 minutes.
It's good stuff.
Then you get back home and yell at your kids and everything's fine.
That's right. So that's the next Sunday, and then we'll be back the next Thursday.
That's it.
So anyway. All right. Well, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving break, and we will see you in December.
I'm Drew Lawley, General Manager at Courtesy Buick GMC. Come see us at Courtesy, where we have over 300 vehicles to choose from, including GMCs, Buicks, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Come see us at Courtesy or check us out at courtesybirmingham.com. Proud supporter of our area high school teams.
If you don't have a will, trust, or some kind of estate plan, you're leaving your loved ones with a lot of headaches. Probate fees and tax issues bring stress to your family while they grieve your loss. Cahaba Law Group is here to protect them and give you reassurance that your hard-earned money and assets are not lost to bureaucratic mayhem. They can help you create the ideal estate plan. If you're currently in probate, Cahaba Law Group can help assist you there too. Plus, they can handle more than just probate. They can serve you in just about any legal matter. Begin now by scheduling a consultation at cahabalaw.net.